So we're joined by the new commercial director of Halifax Rugby League, Craig Poskitt. Craig Poskitt, sorry, how are you?
Yeah, good, all good. Here for the first game today.
And Craig, you've come in as commercial director of Halifax, and just talk about your experience that you bring, to the club.
Well, I think commercial's probably my real strength. As you know, I was chief executive of Featherstone Rovers previously, and commercial manager at Castleford Tigers. So the blend of management and commercial acumen is probably what I can bring to the club. And only been here a week and a half, but there's certainly a lot to go out there in a place like Halifax.
There's a lot of things happening at the club on and off the field in for the new season. Is it an exciting time to come to the club in a capacity like you are for a new season, particularly with the new structure next season?
It is. It's a real good time, and the board of directors have realised that to take the club to the next level, employing somebody like myself in a commercial post is what the club really needs. So hopefully I can repay that faith and deliver in the next 12 months in what's probably the most important season in the recent history of the club. The new structures enable the club to offer potential sponsors the opportunity to be back on Sky again, which was always an issue. As the club moves forward, it's a good place to be. The club is growing, and we'd like to think that any potential sponsor would grow with the club.
As you mentioned, but you've been at Castleford and you've been at Featherstone as well. I mean, with those experiences that you've had, beforehand at a club in the Championship and a club in Super League, what sort of successes have you had at those clubs, and what can you bring from those clubs to Halifax?
Yeah, I think the successes at the club are, commercially, are in and around every town. There's local community sponsors that's fantastic, but there's also the blue chip companies that we aim to attract. And certainly, in the towns at Castleford and Featherstone, we've had quite a number of blue chip companies that come onto the club. I think it's testament to the club that they can actually be in a position to attract these guys. So the next 12 months will be to have a nice blend of community sponsors that's absolutely fantastic and loyal. And also, maybe a blue chip brand that can come in and really help the club move forward.
Commercially, I mean, how do you get people coming through the gate? Because obviously next season is a massive season, and potentially the club could be in Super League for 2016. I mean, how on the commercial side of things do you get people wanting to come through to the gate, come support their local club, and hopefully get the boys ready to go for Super League? Yeah,
there's two types of sponsor. There's a sponsor that's always a fan of the club that gets involved and probably doesn't expect a return of investment, but as the higher level you get, the return investment is the attraction for any sponsor. So we'll be looking to network sponsors and certainly speak to each individual sponsor, find out where they can network with the other guys on the database, pull them all together, and hopefully by the end of next year most of the sponsors have got a return of investment, which again makes 2016 job a lot easier. If you're investing money and getting a return on it, they'll do it again.
As you mentioned, you've been here for about a week and a half, and you've been quite busy in that week and a half. And what sort of things have you been doing so far?
Just basically, meeting new people that I've not met before. I think the fact my first protocol is to certainly speak to all the existing sponsors. They're the loyal people that's been with the club for a long time, and they're the ones that need to be spoken to first and given the opportunity to take the club, in the next step in the commercial world. So we're getting around visiting these kind of people. I'd just like to say a thanks to Taylor Wimpey, who are a blue chip company that sponsored the game today against Dewsbury. I spoke to the guys at Taylor Wimpey last week, and they've stepped up and joined the club certainly on a match basis, and hopefully that's something that will grow in 2015.
How important is it to get big sponsors into the club? I mean, for Halifax or a part-time rugby league club, it might be perhaps a little bit more difficult to get a big sponsor in, but if they were to get a big sponsor in, you'd be part of that. How important would it be to get someone in like that?
Well, it's the same as any business. I think currently it's not a sell about where we are, it's about where we want to be. Each business wants to grow, the club wants to grow, so if we can come down the same avenue there and help the business grow and help the club grow, then that's the potential. It's the potential about where we want to go as a club, and that's an attraction to any sponsor.
And on the field, Halifax are currently in the playoffs. Games against Dewsbury, massive game they have to win. What sort of things have you got going forward? I mean, how do you think Halifax will go forward for 2015? A new coach coming in, new players coming in, players going out. How do you think it's going to pan out for next season?
Well, I think the culture, certainly from my point of view, is a sales culture. For anybody and anything to grow, we've got to get the revenues in there, and I think basically everybody at the club needs to be a salesperson. They need to be selling our vision, selling the image of Halifax Rugby League Football Club, and the more the merrier. I can be the front of that, but certainly the people in and around the club, the fantastic volunteers and the guys that's working in and around the club, we need to be selling that club every day. it's a great culture, great community club, and I think, you know, the next level is to, the more people we get involved, and, you know, the quicker it'll grow.
What's it been like working with people like Tony Abbott, who's currently a director here at Halifax? I mean, you know, he's quite experienced. I mean, is it good to have people like that on board at the club?
Yeah, I think there's some really good people here. You know, all the directors spoke to, and I've known previously, and they've got the club at heart, and they've invested a hell of a lot of money, you know, and I think they want the same as the fans. It's something, you know, we can have, you know, arguments about how the club is run, but certainly from my point of view next year there will be a lot more communication from myself. I'm full-time, all these other directors have got, you know, other jobs, so I'm here full-time, so the communication will improve. And you know, we'll be taking on board what sponsors and fans say, so hopefully I can be a link between the club and fellow board of directors. So that's something that we've looked at and we discussed, and hopefully that'll suit the fans. And
someone who's been involved with both clubs, Halifax and Featherstone, who you've worked with previously, Faisal Naboo, worked with Featherstone and Halifax. I mean, there was a bit of bad taste and, you know, a bit of bad things between both clubs with Faisal. And how do you think you can turn what's perhaps happened in the past from negative into a positive?
Well, I'm here for the future. I think we've got to talk about, you know, attracting people to the club, new people. I think that's what my target is, to attract new people at the club. I can't comment on what happened at Halifax in previous times, but my job is here to introduce new people, and that's what I will be doing. The past's gone, the future's all about myself and Halifax Rugby League.